And we're going to do it again. Sing.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. I welcome everyone to His Holiness Candramauli Swami Maharaj's daily class. My humble obeisances to you all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you all for coming. Today we are going to continue the series of Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, 12th chapter, verse number 19. Hare Krishna, Maharaj. My humble obeisances to you all goes to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you, Maharaj, for your time and association. I welcome you to the call. You can please take over whenever you are ready. I'm sharing my screen. Ganesh. Maharaj, you are on mute, Maharaj.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Brahmana Uchu Artha Praja Vita Saksar Ixvakur Eva Manavaha Brahmayan Satya Samyascha Ramodarsha Vatirita. Translation. The learned Brahmana said, O son of Pritha, this child shall be exactly like King Ixtvaku, son of Manu, in maintaining all those who are born, and as for following Brahminical principles, especially being true to his promise, he should be exactly like Rama, the personality of Godhead, the son of Mahavira. Purport. Praja means the living being is taking birth in this material world. Actually, the living being has no birth and no death, but because of the separation from the service of the Lord, and due to his desire to lord over material nature, he is offered a suitable body to satisfy his material desires. In doing so, one becomes conditioned by the laws of material nature, and the material body is changed in terms of his work only. The living entity thus transmigrates from one body to another in 8,400,000 species of life. But due to his being part and parcel of the Lord, he not only is maintained with all necessities of life by the Lord, but also is protected by the Lord and his representative, the saintly kings. These saintly kings give protection to the prajas, or living beings, who live and to fulfill their terms of imprisonment. Maharaj Pariksha was actually an ideal saintly king, because while touring his kingdom, he happened to see a poor cow was about to be killed by the personified Kali, whom at once he took to task as the murderer. This means that even the animals were given protection by saintly administrators, not from any sentimental point of view, but because of those who have taken birth in the material world have the right to live. All the saintly kings, beginning from the king of the sun globe down to the king of the earth, are so inclined by the influence of the Vedic literatures. The Vedic literatures are taught in higher planets also, as there is reference in the Bhagavad Gita about the teachings to the sun god Vivishwan by the Lord, and such lessons are transferred by disciplic succession, as it was done by the sun god to his son Manu, and from Manu to Maharaj Ikshvaku. There are 14 Manus in one day of Brahma, and the Manu referred to herein is the seventh Manu, who is one of the Prajapatis, that is, those who create progeny, and he is the son of the sun god. He is known as Vaivishvata Manu. He had 10 sons, and Maharaj Ikshvaku is one of them. Maharaj Ikshvaku also learned Bhakti Yoga as taught in the Bhagavad Gita from his father Manu, who got it from his father, the sun god. Later on, the teachings of the Bhagavad Gita came down by disciplic succession from Maharaj Ikshvaku, but in course of time, the chains were broken by unscrupulous persons, and therefore it again had to be taught to Arjuna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. So all the Vedic literatures are current from the very beginning of creation of the material world. And thus the Vedic literatures are known as Apaurusha, not made by man. Vedic knowledge was spoken by the Lord and first heard by Brahma, the first created living being within the universe. So now we get a description of the different personalities. Maharaj Ikshvaku, one of the sons of Vaivishvata Manu. We'll actually stop here and then we'll speak a little bit and then we'll go on to these personalities after some time. Om Gyanti Mirandasya Gyanadhyana Salakaya Chaksum Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasnaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nirvisesa Sunyavari Pastyatya De Satarine Vanchikopa Tirubhischa Kripa Sindhu Peva Chapatitanam Pavanevyo Vaishnavevyo Namaho Vanchikopa Tirubhischa Kripa Sindhu Peva Chapatitanam Pavanevyo Vaishnavevyo Namaho Ajay Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Rama. So it's understood that one takes birth in a particular place, country. They are considered to be the citizens of that country. And they have a right, according to the laws of the country, to pursue their way of life. And that is God-given right, and it's also sanctioned by the state. But the state, unfortunately, at least today in modern state, they don't know that all living beings are equal. Although they may have different bodies, they're still equal. What does that mean? That means that they have a right to live. And they have the right to pursue happiness in that particular body that they've been given in the country that they have been taken birth at, and therefore they're considered citizens. But because of the demoniac mentality of the leaders today, they can't understand that animals, even trees, plants, creepers, insects, also are living beings and have been given a right to live by God. No one can interfere with that without being guilty of causing sinful reactions and has to suffer because of it. Particularly, we see in today's world, they like to kill animals in order to get some money, in order to sell the meat on the market for people to eat. And therefore, they wantonly kill animals like it is normal. This is causing a great upheaval in the peaceful arrangements of the world's population. Therefore, no one's happy because animals are being killed wholesale, not understanding that these are also living beings who are very dear to the Lord. The Lord does not make distinction between one living being and another because he is aham bija pada pita. As he mentions in the Bhagavad Gita, he is the life-giving substance to all life. He is the father of all living beings. And therefore, as a father, all his children are dear to him. And therefore, he's giving them the right to live in this material world. And to interfere with that is a great travesty, which causes sinful reaction, both to the people who do it directly and to the country that sanctions such things. That's why people want peace in this world. Well, we want peace. They're making plans to have peace, but there's no peace. Why? Because they're wantonly killing animals and other living beings, babies in the womb, and they expect to get peace. This is ludicrous. You're killing unnecessarily, and at the same time, you're calling for peace. This is insanity. And so, therefore, no one's happy, and animals are suffering because of that, and others also. It says in the Manu Samhita, which is the law books given by God to mankind. Manu is the person who authors these law books, but he gets in the information from the Lord. As it says, Aparusha means that the scriptures are not made by man, they're coming from God. And therefore they are divine, and therefore they are perfect. It's our duty to understand them and apply them correctly. And that is where there's guidance that is necessary from saintly persons. But it says that if one kills a cow, it is equal to the sin of killing two men. How sacred and sanctified the cow is, because she is considered to be mother. She doesn't ask for anything but just some care, some grass, and a little place where she can live nicely and happily. She gives so much back to the human culture, human society, for development and for happiness. Cow provides not only nourishment to the human culture, but also happiness. And so, but we live in a society that has no understanding of anything. And Prabhupada said it's just the last 200 years that this society has become controlled by demons. And he makes it clear. He says the scientists are all demons. He says it straight out. He doesn't mince words. I was just recently talking to one young lady who I know, and she was telling me she has a friend who is a scientist, and he works with other scientists. And he's actually a nice person, and he's a true scientist. But he said his colleagues, he said 30% of them should be immediately put in jail because they are so evil and so demoniac that when they perform all of their experiments, it's all about destroying things, not about explorations. This is coming from a scientist who works with other scientists. So we're in a very awkward position here. And of course, the devotees are free from that, but because they take shelter of Krishna, and Krishna gives protection, as it means here. It says here the Lord gives protection for all living beings, but especially those who take shelter. But Prabhupada makes the point that, there are persons who are been deputed to give protection to other living entities. The parents are meant to give protection to their children. The king is meant to give protection to the citizens of the state, and there are different categories of relationships. But Prabhupada said, if your parents, you're born into a family, or you're not even born yet, and you're still in the womb and you're being killed by your mother, or she's at least sanctioning your killing. So this is what we have today. And therefore we see Maharaj Parikshit here. It's referred to him that is something that will happen in the future. He was touring his kingdom, and a poor cow was being killed by personified Kali. Prabhupada uses the word murderer, pretty strong word, but he wants to make a point that it actually is murder because it's a living entity who is innocent, and there's no reason why that living entity should be exploited in that way. And therefore, according to the laws of God and the laws of material energy, anyone who kills must also be killed. So it says that those who kill animals or sanction the killing of animals, they also have to take birth as animals and be killed themselves. The laws of material nature do not discriminate. They are very stringent, and one has to follow them, otherwise being victim by that. So therefore, we follow very carefully the instructions given by Krishna in the different scriptures in order for us to understand what is the quality of life that is meant to be lived in such a way that one can be an asset and a benediction for others rather than somebody who causes others to go down. Therefore, the human form of life is called paropaka. Paropaka means to do good to others. And therefore, one who's born in the human life has to act in such a way as they benefit others by their activities, by their personal presence. This is human culture, this is human life. Because material nature is difficult, we are meant to assist each other in helping each other move forward in life, both materially and spiritually. Not just spiritually, but materially also. Okay, so let's go on to these personalities at the very end. And the first one we have is Maharaj Ishlaku, one of the sons of Vaivashvata Manu. He had 100 sons. He prohibited meat eating. His son Sasada became the next king after his death. Okay, so it's mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita that Maharaj, he was the son of the sun god, Vaivashvata Manu, and then came Maharaj Ikshvaku after that, and then his son is mentioned here. Manu, the Manu mentioned in this verse as the father of Ikshvaku, is the seventh Manu of the name Vaivashvata Manu. the son of the sun god Vivasvana, whom Lord Krishna instructed the teachings of Bhagavad Gita prior to his teaching them to Arjuna. Mankind is the descendant of Manu. The Vaivashvatu Manu had 10 sons named Ishvaku, Nabhaga, Drasta, Saryati, Narishyanta, Nabhaga, Dista, Karusha, Prasadra, and Vasuman. The Lord's incarnation, Matsya, was advented during the beginning of the Vaivashvatu Manu reign. So here we're learning a little bit about the history and the different personalities. He learned the principles of Bhagavad Gita from his father Vivasvana, the sun god, and he re-instructed the same to his son Maharaj Ishvaku. In the beginning of Treta Yuga, the sun god instructed devotional service to Manu, and Manu, in his turn, instructed to Ishvaku for the welfare of the human society. So this is the cyclic succession. And as it's mentioned in that same area, succession was broken, and therefore Krishna had already instructed Vaivashvata, the sun god Vivasvana, 40 million years ago. He tells Arjuna, you don't remember, you were also there, but because you don't, but I remember and you do not remember. Because Krishna does not change his body, therefore he remembers everything. We always, when whatever we remember maybe within this life to some degree, but in our next life, we remember nothing of our previous life. And so Krishna is making that point that I've given this knowledge already 40 million years ago. Now I'm coming again to give it to you to reconnect with the cyclic succession once again. And Arjuna became the recipient of that knowledge, and that is the foundation by which the Bhagavad Gita was spoken. Lord Ram, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, incarnated himself as Sri Ram, accepting the sonhood of his pure devotee Maharaj Dasarath, the king of Ayodhya. Lord Ram descended along with his plenary portions, and all of them appeared as his younger brothers. In the month of Chaitra, on the 9th day of the growing moon, in the Treta Yuga, the Lord appeared as usual to establish the principles of religion and to annihilate the disturbing elements. When he was just a young boy, he helped the great sage Vishwamitra by killing Subahu and striking Maricha, 2 demons who were disturbing the sages in their daily discharge of duty. The Brahmins and Kshatriyas are meant to cooperate for the welfare of the mass of people. The Brahmin sages endeavored to enlighten the people by perfect knowledge, and the Kshatriyas are meant for their protection. Lord Ramachandra is the ideal king for maintaining and protecting the highest culture of humanity, known as Brahmanya Dharma. The Lord is specifically the protector of the cows and the brahmanas, and hence he enhances the prosperity of the world. He rewarded the administrative demigods by effective weapons to conquer the demons through the agency of Vishwamitra. He was present in the bow sacrifice of King Janaka, and by breaking the invincible bow of Shiva, he married Sita Devi, daughter of Mother Janaka. After his marriage, he accepted exile in the forest for 14 years by the order of his father, Maharaj Dasarath. To help the administration of the demigods, he killed 14,000 demons. And by the intrigues of the demons, his wife, Sita Devi, was kidnapped by Ravana. So we're getting a little overview of the whole Ramayana here. He made friendship with Sugriva, who was helped by the Lord to kill Vali, who was the brother of Sugriva. By the help of Lord Ram, Sugriva became the king of the Varnaras. the Lord built a floating bridge of stone on the Indian Ocean and reached Lanka, the kingdom of Ravana, who had kidnapped Sita. Later on, Ravana was killed by the Lord, and Ravana's brother Vibhishana was installed on the throne of Lanka. Vibhishana was one of the brothers of Ravana, a demon, but Lord Ram made him immortal by his blessing. On the expiry of the 14 years after setting the affairs of Lanka, the Lord came back to his kingdom, Ayodhya, by Flower Plain. He instructed his brother Satrugna to attack Lavanasura, who reigned at Mathura, and the demon was killed. He performed 10 Ashvamedha sacrifices, and later on he disappeared while taking a bath in the Sarayu River. The great epic Ramayana is the history of Lord Rama's activities in the world, and the authoritative Ramayana was written by the great poet Valmiki. Here Srila Prabhupada's giving a nice, very clear, and quite extensive synopsis of the pastime of the Lord's appearance in this world to uplift religious principles, reestablish the Dharma, and to teach what is the quality of real saintly rule. Ram is known as the ideal king, the ideal husband. He follows Dharma strictly. When he speaks, whatever he says becomes reality. And he marries only one wife in this particular Leela, wherein his other manifestations, especially in Krishna, he married 16,000 queens. And so in this particular one, he is showing the ideal wife. There actually was another personality, her name was Vegavati. She appeared also in the Ramayana, and there's a place where that's described, wherein she wanted to marry Ram. And Ram said, I cannot do it in this particular incarnation, but I will satisfy your desire in due course of time. And that was done also, that the real Sita was never taken by Ravana. The false Sita, who was actually Vegavati, who wanted to be the wife of Ram, appeared as the false Sita to trick Ravana, and he captured what he thought was the wife of the Lord, but actually it was this personality named Vegavati. And later it was revealed that Sita was never touched by Ravana. That's in the pastime of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. There's one particular story where the Lord was invited by one Rab Bhakta to have prasadam at his home. The Lord accepted graciously, and the Lord appeared there. And it was already late in the afternoon, and the Brahmin hadn't even begun the cooking yet. So the Lord inquired, you haven't even begun cooking? He said, oh, how can I cook when I just think of how Sita Devi was taken by this horrible demon, Ravana. My mind becomes so disturbed and unhappy, and all I can do is lament. But the Lord, understanding the truth of the reality, left and found a passage in one scripture indicating that it was not Sita, but it was the Maya Sita, the false Sita. He came back, showed the passage to this Brahmana, who became very happy to hear that, and then he cooked, and Lord Chaitanya took prasadam at his home. Okay, so we have a little bit about Lord Ram here. pastimes of Lord Ram were so endearing. Throughout the world, people hear the Ramayana regularly, and Prabhupada wants to make a point here at the very end. He says that the actual author of the Ramayana is Valmiki Muni, who was inspired by Narada Muni and then re-inspired again by Lord Brahma. He is the actual authority. There are other versions of the Ramayana that are also quite good in terms of the content, but Prabhupada understood that Valmiki's Ramayana illustrates the Supreme Lord's position in the most complete way, in the most correct way, as being the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and not an incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is the Lord Himself. Amari Murti Sukalani Amena Tishtam Navatara Ataro Bhuvanesi Kinchu Krishna Swayam Samabhavat Paramam Pamanyo Govindamari Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Amari Murti Sukalani Amena Tishtam. So out of all of the incarnations of the Lord, the manifestation of the chief of all of them is Sri Ramchandra himself. He is the exalted aspect of the Vaikuntha realm, and of all of the manifestations of the Lord's appearance and forms, both in the spiritual and material worlds. Ramachandra is considered the most elevated and most perfect. And the Lord is perfect in all of his incarnations, but he exhibits his perfection accordingly. In Krishna, he exhibits his perfections completely. In Ram, he almost does it completely. He's a little less than Krishna, but still, he is still the Supreme Krishna. Okay, we can open it up for discussion.
Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you for the nice class and explanation of these personalities. Thank you so much. Dear devotees, any questions or comments or realizations, you can please go ahead now. And please turn on your cameras if possible. Yes, Mataji, Sridevi Mataji, please go ahead.
Thank you, Srimati. Dear Guru Maharaj, the particular line in this purport describing Lord Ram's activities, where it is said that he, let me just, maybe I should go and look at that verse exactly so that I'm not saying something wrong. In that particular purport, where it is described, he empowered the demigods, administrative demigods. What does that mean? Through the agency of Vishwamitra. He rewarded the administrative demigods by effective weapons to conquer the demons through the agency of Vishwamitra. What exactly does that mean? I don't understand that part.
What don't you understand? It's just
Which demigod did he give weapons to conquer the demons through the agency of Vishwamitra?
He rewarded the administrative demigods by effective weapons to conquer the demons through the agency of Vishwamitra. That's part of the Ramayana. You just have to find it.
Oh, okay.
And what it means actually is Vishwamitra came to Dasaratha. He wanted help. And of course, later on, the Lord appeared personally to kill those two demons, Subahu and Maricha. These administrative demigods are also the Varnaras, because these different monkey soldiers were actually demigods, half demigod and half monkey. They're called Varnars. And so they came, and they're, Bali is an incarnation, Indra, or a manifestation, energy of Indra. Sugriva is Surya, and Hanuman is the wind god, Vayu, coming from that. So there's a little indication there, but I think this statement refers to something else within the Ramayana.
Okay, thank you, Maharaj.
Thank you, Mataji. Sukhava Mataji, you have a question?
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Srila Prabhupada, and all glories to devotees. Guru Maharaj, in the first part, you mentioned about parokar, to help others in the mode of goodness. Doesn't it gives us the good karma for which we have to come back?
No, not at all. What are you going to do in this world? The best way to help people is bring them to Krishna consciousness.
Yeah.
But it's a general statement. What it means is human life is meant to do good for others, not to simply be so self-centered that you just think about how to make money, how to have a nice family, it's not you become the center. That's not the idea. The idea is you take whatever God has given you and you find ways to serve others. That's just human life. We do that all the time to some degree. So that's the mood of human culture. Animals can't do that. That's the distinction that's being compared to other forms of life. For animals, they can't think about doing good to others because they don't have that intelligence. But humans do. Some animals do have a little bit of that intelligence, just like the dolphins. They're a highly evolved species also. But in general, it's a comparison. If you're born in the human form of life, think of ways to help to do good of others. And then it comes right down to the point. The best way is to become Krishna conscious and give Krishna consciousness. That's really the bottom line.
Okay, thank you. If anyone doesn't have any other question, I've got another question as well, Guru Maharaj.
Yes,
Yeah.
Mataji, please go ahead.
Okay, Guru Maharaj, this is regarding about Rath Yatra. Yesterday, like you mentioned that Lord Krishna returns to Vrindavan, like he's been taken to Vrindavan via Rath. So basically, up till now, we have heard that Krishna doesn't go back to Vrindavan after leaving Vrindavan. So how does that, is this Krishna really went to Vrindavan in the Rath Yatra, or is it?
No, I don't know where you got that idea. He does return to Vrindavan. Who told you he doesn't return to Vrindavan? He does.
In one of the class I heard about it.
I think you were saying is that Krishna never leaves Vrindavan.
He didn't leave Vrindavan in the other form. There are two forms. That I know that one goes to Mathura, and the other form of Krishna lives in Vrindavan. But
Form is Krishna in the hearts of all of living entities. Unmanifested.
this Lord Jagannath's thing, I don't understand properly, Guru Maharaj.
That's what Rath Yatra is about. Krishna returns.
Okay.
Simple. Krishna,
Okay, got it.
Krishna's feeling separation from Vrindavan. And the separation becomes so intense that he can't stay away anymore.
Okay.
And the residents of Vrindavan want him to come back from both sides.
All right, Guru Maharaj. Thank you.
Thank you, Mataji. Maharaj, there are two questions on chat. One is from Boni Mataji. She is asking, in Ramayana, Lord Rama exiled Sita to the woods when she is innocent. How can this be reconciled with the understanding that he is the perfect husband?
What's the first part of the question again?
Yeah, in Ramayana, Lord Rama exiled Sita to the woods when she is innocent. So she is innocent and she is sent to the woods, right? Good Maharaj. So, Maharaj. So
you mean at the end of the Ramayana?
yeah, at the end of the Ramayana, yeah.
Yeah, that's the departure Leela. These are making arrangements for her to depart, and then he leaves her not long after that. That's their Leela for departure. She stays, she gives birth at Valmiki's ashram, has 2 sons, and she disappears from there. She doesn't return. But there's other reasons why that happened. And that's very long. I don't know if I can explain that one. But there's 2 reasons. One, to prepare for the departure Leela, and the other one is to foil some demons who had some benedictions that as long as Sita and Ram Sita and Ram the demons could understand, and Sita and Ram could never be separated. And so they wanted a benediction based on that they could change the whole karma of the world. And now, in order to break that benediction given by Brahma, or to foil that whole thing, that was one of the reasons why he sent. Because the demons were trying to exploit by using a particular benediction they received from Brahma by performing some austerities. In order to destroy the demons' attempt to control, he separated his wife from him. So that's mentioned, that's a hidden Leela. It's there also in the commentaries on the Ramayana.
Yes. Yeah. Mataji, is that okay? If you have any further questions, please tell me.
None of the ladies like that particular Leela. They all criticize it.
Thank you.
Ram's just a, he's a nice guy up to a certain point, and he just sends his innocent wife away who's pregnant. You have to understand the commentaries by the acharyas before you start making your own opinions. The Lord is perfect. Whatever he does is perfect. And it's always for the benefit of everyone. And the disappearance leelas of the Lord are not very happy. Krishna's disappearance, Mahaprabhu's disappearance, all of them cause unhappiness to his devotees. But that unhappiness is their love for him.
Yes, Maharaj. Thank you, Maharaj. There is one more question on chat by Anahita Mataji. She is asking, I have been preaching to a few local people in my village, and a sensitive question came up about life after death. They believe they can talk to their loved ones after and don't like the concept of the soul going to another body and forgetting them. Can you elaborate on this topic?
I don't know if I can understand what they're thinking. What are they saying? The soul is
So
what?
they are saying they can talk to their loved ones even after they leave the body, and they don't like the concept of the soul going to another body. So they are thinking that the soul is there always, and they can talk to their loved ones even they leave the body. So
Well, in some cases they can do that, but not in that same body. Once the soul leaves the body, that is death. Soul's present in the body is life. The soul's disappearance from the body is death. So people can still communicate with other living entities as they leave their particular situation. That's possible. It's not something you can easily develop, but it is possible, because once the soul is free from the body, it's no longer encumbered. But if it's still under the laws of karma, it's restricted by that. It's guided by that karma. So who cares about talking to your relatives? Who's your relative anyway? Krishna Mata, Krishna Pita, Krishna Dana Pran. We come together as family members and we just fight amongst each other anyway. So we call that love, you know. I mean, there's something is there. So we're thrown together in family and relationships based on our karma. If you change your karma, you get a different set of living entities to connect with. You change your karma again, you get another different set of living entities. So we're brought together by karma. But we develop some affection for each other based on the bodily connection. But that is just temporary. A real connection is with Krishna. And we can also have a loving connection with other living entities also on the spiritual platform. On the material platform, there's no love. It's simply an agreement to satisfy each other's needs. That's all. Material life means we come together and it's more like a business deal. You do this for me and I do that for you. I have this need, you help fill that need, and you have this need and I help fill your need, and that's called relationship. So friends, family members all come together based on these needs. In the material world, we are needy anyway. But if we connect with Krishna, then all of our needs are not only satisfied, they're fulfilled beyond our expectations, and we are happy. Then, if we have a relationship with Krishna, then we see all other living beings also as our brothers, sisters, like that. In other words, the souls have relationship with each other based on their relationships with the Lord. Otherwise, we try to make relationships without keeping the Lord as the foundation for that relationship. It's not really a relationship. All it is an agreement to fulfill each other's desire for sense enjoyment. And then things break apart when that contract is no longer being fulfilled. So yeah, and the devotee loves all living entities. Why? Because he sees all living entities as part and parcel of Krishna. Therefore, coming back to that principle of paropaka means that, we are connected with each other. To do good to each other means to do good, to serve Krishna. The same thing. So we have to take everything on the platform of reality and not on the platform of what we call external relationships, which are temporary and subject to change, subject to so many problems. That's why Prabhupada would say, well, they talk about brotherhood, but what about the animals? Aren't they our brothers too?
Mataji, you want to answer that?
Anybody can respond to that.
Yes, Maharaj. I don't know. Devotees, anybody want to respond to that? Maharaj, can you please repeat once again?
No, I can't repeat it. I already said it.
Okay.
Yeah, our relationship with each other is based on our relationship with Krishna. That's the bottom line. When there's no relationship with Krishna, or when the relationship with Krishna is broken, then we can't really have a relationship with anything else, because that relationship is not a real relationship. It's based on mutual sense gratification. We use each other to fulfill our own personal needs on a material level. Dindakini Ragabagini Palak Palak Rakuse. That's a very powerful statement spoken by Tulsi Das, one of the authors of the Ramayana.
Maharaj, she is asking like, thank you, Guru Maharaj. How is it some people can remember previous lives?
Some souls are more elevated than others in that area. The soul is chit. It can remember everything, not only previous lives, but everything. According to the level of development, that soul can remember or not remember. Even in the material world, we see the dichotomies. Some people are intelligent and can learn quickly and remember. Others can study and not learn so much and forget easy. And that's on the material level. So on the spiritual level, according to the level of the soul's evolution on the spiritual platform, it has more and more awareness of its actual chit nature. That means it knows everything. Depending on the evolution of the soul's connection with Krishna. That's why we seek guidance from spiritual masters and not from just anybody.
Okay, Maharaj, thank you so much. She's just trying to understand to answer these questions from the local people. She's saying, yeah.
Yeah, just I don't really know how to respond to them. It's not really important anyway. If people can have connections with other souls, fine, but what's the benefit? Connection is with Krishna. That's the real benefit.
Thank you, Maharaj. We have a question, I think hand raised by Scarlett Mataji. Mataji, do you have a question? You can ask Mataji.
She's acting like she doesn't have a question.
Is it me asking?
Yeah, please.
Yes, I have. I'm sorry, I didn't hear you mention my name. I'm sorry. Hare Krishna, and thank you for this class today. in everything we read about Ravana and whatever he has, that he got benediction from the Brahmana, from Brahma, from the demigods, Shiva, and so on and so on and so on. Doesn't they know that he's a demon and he's going to misuse the everything that he gets from them and still get them? How come he get this benedictions? They do they don't know that he is a demon?
Yeah. But he's performed the austerities, and based on the material energy, if you perform austerities, you get some kind of power, you get some reward. We do that in the material world too. We work hard, and we get some money, and we use the money for sense gratification. So when you perform an austerity, you get some material benefit from that. And then how you use it's given. So the demons perform austerity. That we have that one demon, what was his name? Vikasura. And he performed austerities to Lord Shiva by cutting off his flesh and throwing it into fire. And then Lord Shiva appeared to him and said, "What do you want?" He said, I want the benediction that anybody's head I touch will fall off, will die. So Shiva granted him, and then all of a sudden, he wanted to touch Shiva. That's mentioned in the Bhagavatam. And then Shiva was in trouble, and he had to get out of there. So yeah, a lot of times personalities give benedictions to demons and others, and then they use it for harming others and themselves. If you perform, Hiranyakashipu did the same thing. He wanted to be immortal, and he got it. And then he started conquering the whole universe. So the demigods are in a position to reward according to your austerity. It's not spiritual, it's simply material. That's all it is.
Can I ask one more question, please?
I'm not sure you got the answer yet. You don't
Yes,
look.
I got the answer. I understand that they did the austerity and they got the benediction, but it turns at the end, it turns back to them and destroy themselves.
Yeah, but you have to understand the principle. If you perform material austerities, you get material benefits.
Exactly.
You get material power.
Mhm.
How the material energy works.
Mhm.
That's the way the material energy works. We do it every day. We perform certain, sacrifices, and we get some benefit.
But my problem is that they are the demigods. They should work for Lord Krishna and not for, even though that they came with their austerity or whatever.
That's their service, to reward people for material worship or material austerities.
Okay.
Rama did it to both Hiranyakashipu and Ravana. He gave both.
Exactly.
The Lord chastised Brahma after he gave it to Hiranyakashipu. He said, don't give out these benedictions anymore to these demons. But that's their service. That's what they do. If you want to be powerful, hey, you can do it. Perform the austerities, you become powerful materially. But devotees are not interested in that. They're interested in Krishna. And because they take shelter of Krishna, they automatically become powerful. Because it's Krishna's power. That's it. devotees are protected completely by Krishna because they're surrendered to Krishna. And therefore, nothing can harm the devotees because they're under the shelter of Krishna. So where does that power come from? It comes from Krishna. And it comes for the demons and the materialists through the material energy, which is put in place by Krishna. Sarvasya Hamriti Sani Visto. Matat Smriti Gyanam Apavanancha. You want to remember me? Fine. I give you the knowledge. You want to forget me? Fine. I teach you the philosophy of how to forget me.
May I ask my next question, please? Please forgive me. I promise you, I just want to learn to understand. I promise you, I don't mean anything by it. I just want to learn to understand it. To practice by it, too.
I want you to learn and understand and practice too. But I want you to understand the answers as they're given. Prabhupada used to say, before you can eat the next bite, you have to digest what you ate already.
I
So
promise I
otherwise,
do.
if you keep asking questions, you just get indigestion.
I promise you I do. Before I read today's verse, we see it all the time in the WhatsApp, what verse we are going to read today. So I usually do like I read it first before the class start. But today I did it mistake. I went I read the chapter 11. Chapter 11, and there was the same 19, and then but it was chapter 11. When I read that, it was about the prostitute that they do devotional service. They are devotees. They are pure devotees, even though that they are prostitute. So what I don't understand, the act prostitute, it's sex, and it's to get paid. And when you do this, not only that you do the sin, you help even others to do the sin. Is it not so?
This is their occupation. In Vedic culture, prostitution was an occupation within society. But they weren't pure devotees, that's for sure. They may have worshipped the Lord, and they were devoted to the Lord, but that's their occupation. It's considered an authorized occupation in Vedic culture. Then you want to know why. Why is it?
I mean, it's illicit sex, doesn't it? Does it in the group of illicit sex? Then how can you be devoted to Lord if you do that?
They're doing a service for the society.
Okay.
Yeah, because the tendency of the male species to enjoy more than one woman. That's the tendency of the male species. So in order not to pollute innocent women, there's a class of people called the prostitutes where men can go to that. And therefore, they protect the rest of the society from these men who want to, satisfy themselves by attracting innocent women, or even using their wife as a machine also. So it's done as a service to society. They actually do great service. And they have that inclination. And so they're using that inclination in the service of society. And they also worship the Lord. It's allowed in Vedic culture. In Western culture, it's seen otherwise. And what happens? The men just jump around to everybody and they just pollute innocent women. That's what happens.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I don't mean any judgment with it. I just want to understand the
I just
concept.
want you to understand the answer.
Yes.
It has a purpose in a cultured society. Otherwise, men will run around and just pollute everybody. That's the nature of the male species.
Mhm. Thank you, Maharaj. Maharaj, we are over 8 minutes of the hour. So is it okay to take one more question or shall we end the class here?
We got Sukava here.
Yes, yeah, that's why I'm asking, Maharaj. Yes, Mataji, please go ahead.
Guru Maharaj, my question is in connection to Scarlett Mataji's question as well. You are explaining that prostitutes are helping the society. I understand that point very well. But isn't it is the women exploitation that, giving men a free will to do anything they want to do instead of punishing them?
They're gonna do it anyway.
They punish them, isn't it, Guru Maharaj? How can
they're gonna do it anyway. What do you mean?
They should be punished, Guru Maharaj.
They're gonna do it anyway.
That's not fair, is it?
Just like, when during the era of prohibition in America, they restricted alcohol. You couldn't buy alcohol. And what happened? People were making their own alcohol in their houses. There's a class of people who like to drink. There's a class of people who like to eat meat. A class of people who are men who like to chase after women. So it has to be, that's why marriage is there. But even in marriage, if they exploit that, then they also become degraded. So these are concessions in order to stem the tide of sinful activity and restrict it within a certain category. That's it. You have to understand the principle behind it. These people will do it anyway, whether you make it a law or you don't make it a law.
But after that concession also, it's not helping much in the society at the moment, anyways, isn't it, Guru Maharaj? They don't understand.
Yeah.
Those people are ridiculous.
Our whole society is polluted now.
Exactly. So much pollution.
And women are easily led by men.
Yeah, unfortunately. True.
There's a science in how to attract women, and men, they learn that science and they use it to exploit women. I won't explain that because I don't think it's important.
No, that's true, Guru. But I say it's not fair. I feel it's really unfair.
Yeah. Anyway. We live in a demoniac society. The only solution is Krishna consciousness.
True.
It says, the 4 regulative principles. You follow that if you want to practice devotional service. And that's even hard for devotees to do. To speak about the non-devotees. Okay. Yeah.
Anyway, we can pray for that, Guru Maharaj. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Maharaj, before ending the call, I just want to do some announcements. I hope there are no more questions. Okay, so the first announcement is I just want to remind everyone to register for the Govardhan Eco Village retreat, which is upcoming in November, from November 29th to December 7th. And so it's a wonderful opportunity to associate with the Maharaj and other devotees. And also it's like a good experience of learning about Sri Vrindavan past, Vrindavan Leela's pastimes of Lord Krishna. And yeah, so we look forward to everyone to register if you didn't register yet. So that's a reminder. And one more announcement is like tomorrow is Maharaj is giving class to Bhakti Sangha Charlotte devotees, class to them. And the time is 12:20 p.m. UK time. We are going back a little before prayer time, like 12:20 p.m. UK time and 7:20 Eastern. And for India, it will be 4:50 p.m. So, and the verse number is 6th canto, Srimad Bhagavatam, 6th canto, 16th chapter, verse number 29.
And it's 6:20 for
Central. Yes, yeah, 6:20 for Central.
Yeah, I just would like to make a comment about the retreat. There are 24 slots available for this retreat. In other words, we can take up to 24 people as this stands now. So far, 10 people have registered, so that means there's 14 still available. So if you want to register, you shouldn't wait till the last minute, because as soon as we reach 24, we have to close the registration.
May I ask a question about retreat?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Because I have my disability, if I travel somewhere, I have to have some of my children, one of my children with me, always is my daughter. Is it possible for me, if I can make it, is it okay if she can come with me?
Yeah.
Because I need her to help me. I can't do by myself. I have difficulty.
Yeah, I said yes, 100%.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
Thank you.
You can.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, Maharaj, thank you so much. We'll all meet tomorrow. I'll share the link in the WhatsApp groups. Thank you so much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you. Jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna,
Thank you.
Gurudev. Thank you very much.